Hi, this is Sridhar from wpdevdesign.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can rebuild the first section, including the header of this website in WordPress using Oxygen. So I have a test site here where I have added a custom uh, menu, WordPress menu, and since this bring a team should appear like a button, I'm going to add a CSS class to this called button so that we can style it later in CSS. So I'm gonna click on CSS classes visibility and give this a class of button, and let's click on save menu. Okay, so let's first create a new page. And call it Hope Sports, publish. And if you notice, by default it is set to inherit from the template called page, but in this case I'm going to select none because I do not want any part of the other templates, which is basically the header and footer, to come in here. So I am going to design the entire thing here in just for this page. So let's just first save this, okay, and edit it with Oxygen. Okay, so let's first click on add and search for header, and I'm going to add the header builder component, and inside this I'm going to add um, a link wrapper. So the URL for this, will just set this to slash, which will basically link to the home page, and inside this we're going to add an image, and I am going to browse and select the SVG, but I cannot select that SVG file because WordPress does not allow us to upload SVG files by default due to security reasons. So I'm just gonna click on save. Go back to plugins and install a safe SVG plugin. So I'm gonna go to downloads and upload the images that are required. Go back here and reload. Okay, and we're gonna change this image to the logo, and let's give it a width of 100 pixels. So the height will automatically get adjusted, but if you want, you can also give 100 for the height. All right, so let's add the menu component, and I'm gonna bring up the structure and move the menu from row left to row right, like that. Okay, so let's style these links. The text color should be black, and I'm gonna set the text transform to uppercase, and let's set the font weight to 700 to make them bold. Okay, and we'll save it. So let me add the home page hero section like that by going to add and selecting the section from there. And this, for this we're gonna set a background image, and let's set the height of this to 100% of the viewport height, so 100 VH. Okay, and let's go back to size and spacing, sorry, the background, and make sure that the background should not repeat, should be set to no repeat. Okay, so inside this I'm going to add a columns component that has two columns, and we want these columns to take up the full height of this container of the section. So I'm gonna go to advanced size and spacing and set the height to 100%. So that will basically stretch the columns to full height of the parent container, which is the section that has the 100% of the viewport height. So I'm going to click inside the left div and going to add a heading element. So let's first select the left div and set the background color to this green, transparent green. So I'm going to inspect that and see if I can grab the color code. Yeah, here it is. So I'm going to set the background color to that, and we'll set the text color to white. Okay, and let's change the text to go, build, and win. And let's bump up the font size to say 150 pixels, and we'll go to typography and set the line height to 1. And let's add the text element below, and I'm gonna change this to invite your team with the ultimate team building experience. Okay, so I'm gonna select the heading and add some margin below so it doesn't look so close, and change the font size of this text to, let's say, 26. Okay, so let's add the button. I'm gonna add some space like that. Okay, so this would be bring a team. Okay, so we need to set the button color, which is the background color. Let's go to this website and inspect that. Okay, that is the background color for the button. I'm gonna set it to that, and we'll make the font weight 700, that is bold, and let's change the letter spacing to 1 pixel. I think that is okay for now. Okay, so I'm going to now select the header builder and click on overlay, and we'll set it to be overlaid on top of the section above 992 pixels. So the moment I do that, you can see that we have something similar to this, but now we need to make sure that there is some space above the section 1. So what we can do, instead of giving a top margin or padding for the entire section, we can select this div, and we can give the padding at the top for this particular div. So I'm gonna go to size and spacing, and I'm going to, let's say, 130. Okay, we'll just give 100 to begin with, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm gonna also give it a left and right padding of say 50 pixels, like that. Okay, save it. Okay, so what we have here is this, and let us make sure that the logo is to the extreme left and the menu is to the right. So if you inspect this, you can see that Oxy header container is getting the maximum width of 1120 pixels. As far as I know, it is not possible to set this to none, that is, set the max width to none, so that the left and right elements of the header, they go to the left and right edges of the browser. So what we can do is yeah. So what we can do is we can create a new custom selector for this class. So I'm gonna go to manage selectors, add selector, paste that, and go to advanced size and spacing, and see if I can set the max width to none. But if you notice that none option is not there, so we need to go to custom CSS and write max width none. So now you can see that the logo goes to the left and the menu goes to the right. Okay, and the padding that we have given to the left div is not gonna work because it is just okay, you know what, first we need to select the section, go to advanced size and spacing, and change this to full width. Okay, I come here and reload. Okay, and there is some padding for this section. So by default, sections will have some padding at the left, um, right, and bottom, top and bottom. So let's change this to 0. Let's just make it 0, apply all. And now for the left div, I can bump up the padding to say 130 pixels. So we have it like that. Okay, so what we need to do now is to make sure that this button, uh, this menu item looks like a button. So we have earlier given this menu item a class of button, and that is being applied to the list item. So we need to write some custom CSS that says locate the list item that has a class of button, and inside that locate this a, the anchor element, and add some CSS that makes it looks like this button. Okay, so I have this browser extension called CSS scan. When I click on that and I hover on this button, it is going to show me all the CSS rules that make it a button. So I just copied that to clipboard, and I'm going to paste it there. So now we need to, let me just close the CSS scan. So we need to go back to, let's go to manage style sheets, and I'm going to add a new style sheet, and you can give this either your name or the project name or something like that. So I'm going to call this the project name. I'm not sure why it got added under uncategorized. I'm going to just delete that. Let's try it again. Okay, yeah. So inside this, I'm going to add a new style sheet called say main. And here I'm going to say any list item that has a class of button. Inside that is the anchor element. Okay. So for this, I need all these CSS rules to be applied. So the moment you do that, you can see, let me collapse this. You can see the styles getting applied, but the color of white is not getting applied because a more specific CSS is being applied here. So if you add important, that is going to override that. Okay, and also the padding I believe is much higher than what it should be. Padding also is being overridden, so I can add important to that. Now, if you notice something, the moment I do that, these things are not lining up. So what I could do is for the list item that has the class of button, I can add this justify content property, set it to center. Okay, you might be wondering how did I come up with that? Let's just show it. Let me show it to you. So what we have is this one. If I inspect this list item, you can see that the actual A is aligned to the top. We need it to be aligned centered vertically. So this list item has already got a display of flex and flex direction of column. So that means to align the children vertically, or not vertically, I should say, to align the children centered, or to center the children along the axis of the flow, which is vertical in this case, we need to set justify content to center. So list item having a class of button, justify content center. Okay, let me save it. Come back here, reload, and there you go. So this is not done. You still need to check how this behaves and do some adjustments for the responsive views and all that. So, but that is something that I leave up to you. Bye for now.